Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Tonight. A grandfather attacked and killed in Turlock. His family now calling for justice. Plus, Governor Newsom just signed a bill that would require insurance companies to expand coverage of fertility treatments like IVF. And a local company is accused of leaving people out thousands of dollars after not finishing several tiny home projects. We speak with those who say they want their money and answers. ABC10 Tonight starts now. Today is the last day for Governor Gavin Newsom to act on dozens of bills sitting on his desk. So far, he's rejected a bill that would have made undocumented immigrants eligible for home loans. He also vetoed a bill that would have established first-in-the-nation safety measures for large artificial intelligence models. He did sign bills banning all plastic bags at grocery stores, enhancing protections for renters, and smartphone restrictions at schools. And over the weekend, Governor Newsom signed a bill into law to expand access to IVF. And ABC 10's Alicia Machado joins me in studio now with the details. So, Alicia, tell us, what does this legislation mean?
Yeah, well, Laura, the legislation requires large group health plans to provide coverage for infertility and fertility services, including in vitro fertilization. Now, for basic IVF cycles, IVF can cost more than $200,000 in California, according to Pacific Fertility Center.
It's a tough decision for some California families.
Do I decide to start a family, or do I decide to look for and get a house?
A decision State Senator Caroline Menjivar has weighed herself, but a bill could make affording fertility services in California a bit easier. SB 729, authored by Senator Menjivar, was signed into law by Governor Newsom Sunday. The legislation requires large group health care service plans and disability insurance policies to provide coverage for diagnosing and treating infertility. This includes fertility services like in vitro fertilization, known as IVF. The procedures are often costly.
One of my best friends had to pay upwards of $35,000 just for the first child, and that's not even IVF, that's IUI. Another best friend right now is going to Mexico to start services on fertility because it's about 75% cheaper there.
The senator's office says this applies to businesses with more than 50 employees. The legislation also includes the LGBTQ+ community and unpartnered individuals. This comes just a couple weeks after legislation to establish a nationwide right to IVF failed to advance in the U.S. Senate for a second time. But not all support the legislation. The California Association of Health Plans is opposed to the bill. In a statement to ABC 10, the association said, in part, the coverage requirement is expected to raise health care costs by $182 million in the first year and increase to $329.9 million in year two. During a committee hearing, the California Chamber of Commerce also expressing opposition, saying it will increase premiums on employers.
The policy does not apply to small group health care service plans, which covers businesses with 50 or fewer employees.
So, Alicia, when does this new law come into effect?
Yes, Laura, a multifaceted answer for that, because the legislation states that the bill goes into effect on July 1st, 2025. But in his signing message, Governor Newsom asked the legislature to move that date to January 1st, 2026, so a 6-month delay there. It goes into effect for government workers who get benefits from CalPERS in July 2027. It is a topic we will continue to follow.
Well, that is good to hear, Alicia, because we know that so many lives are impacted by this issue. Keep us updated. Alicia, thank you.
Anchor Tiny Homes is now under state investigation and has gone out of business. In an intimate conversation, 5 homeowners say they're out hundreds of thousands of dollars because of Anchor Tiny Homes.
Our salesperson said if we signed with them that weekend, they would pay for our permit.
Seemed to be kind of like the perfect thing.
These 5 homeowners.
They would do it all for us, and we didn't really have to get our hands into it.
I now feel like I've been sort of duped by that.
All have one thing in common.
We are in $23,000 and we were stuck in permitting.
They trusted and hired Anchored Tiny Homes to build them an ADU on their property.
They were touted as, the country's premier ADU builder.
How many of you have unfinished projects?
Throughout the building process, these homeowners say Anchored Tiny Homes failed to provide updates, leaving them to wonder if they'd ever have a finished ADU.
How many of you paid Anchored Tiny Homes more than $10,000 to complete your project? $50,000. $100,000. $200,000.
In July, Anchored Tiny Homes CEO Colton Paulus told ABC10 he was sorry to everyone he disappointed and that the company grew too fast, making it difficult for him to finish projects, pay contractors, and employees.
It is our intention to finish every single job. It is not our intention to stop projects. We're not abandoning people and leaving them high and dry.
Weeks later, he told his employees he couldn't make payroll. In August, Paulus announced the business would close and he would be filing for bankruptcy. Court records show the company has yet to file for bankruptcy. Former contractors and employees tell ABC10 they have yet to be paid the money they're owed, leaving homeowners to believe
they are trying to save time and keep us from suing them.
It makes me feel like they're continuing to do what they want to do, and they can, start another business and continue with this scam in another avenue. And until they're stopped, they're just going to continue to do it.
A day after ABC10 first reported on Anchored Tiny Homes, an LLC called Contractor Launched was filed with the California Secretary of State. Paulus's home address is listed on the company's filing. As for Anchored Tiny Homes, the contractor's state license board confirms it launched an investigation and is working with the state attorney general and Sacramento County's district attorney's office. The CSLB has also suspended the company's contractor's license due to a cancellation of their contractor's bond.
CSLB can't act without honest, hardworking homeowners and other complainants coming to CSLB and bringing these things to the attention of CSLB. So now we can get ideas to further educate the public so we can weed out some of the bad actors.
The state recently took suggestions from impacted homeowners to possibly implement changes when it comes to contractors' licenses to try and prevent this from happening again.
We may need to look at why banks are not requiring escrow accounts today. If you go back 10, 15 years ago, the banks would have an escrow officer. They'd actually go out to the job site. They would look and see if the work was done before they would authorize payment for that work, and you're just not seeing it currently.
Recently, the Better Business Bureau revoked Anchored Tiny Homes' accreditation after failing to maintain at least a B rating, work with the BBB to modify its practices, and cooperate with the BBB to fix the underlying patterns identified by customer complaints. ABC10 tried contacting Paulus multiple times over the past several months about paying employees, his bankruptcy claim, and more. He has yet to respond to our requests. The silence has left these homeowners with more questions than answers.
Where is it all? You're pulling in all these few $100,000 and you weren't paying anybody. Where was it all going? Just show us the paper trail.
With no confidence any of them will see their money again, they want Colton Paulus to know he didn't just fail at his business.
I just want them to know we have a face behind every name on their contracts. We have a story, and each family is affected, and our family multiple generations.
Even though Anchored Tiny Homes' contractor license is currently suspended, the contractor state's license board says the company does have a chance to respond to try and save their license. However, if they don't respond in time, the CSLB can revoke their license without a hearing. Now, if you have been impacted by Anchored Tiny Homes, so you want to hear from you, you can email your story to thepoint@abc10.com.
We start with a family in Turlock. They're demanding justice after a 49-year-old grandfather was stabbed and killed following a road rage incident. Turlock police say it happened Friday night near West Monte Vista Avenue. ABC10's Roxanne Elias talked with family members today.
I love and miss you so bad, my brother. Shouldn't happen this way.
Many tears were shed on Monday as the family of Enrique Gomez gathered in the parking lot where he was killed beside A's Barber Shop in Turlock. His sister, Thelma Lozano, says they spoke with his friend who was also in the car that night. They say he was stabbed Friday night around 10:30 after he asked a driver to slow down as he was leaving his younger sister's apartment complex.
What started out at my sister's apartment of my brother backing out of the driveway and a car speeding down the road in a residential area. My brother kind of yelled, slow down, led to my brother being followed, taunted, and murdered.
She says her 49-year-old brother was pronounced dead 30 minutes later. According to Turlock police, the stabbing happened after the two men got in an argument stemming from a road rage incident. Hours later, Ahmed Abwini, a 28-year-old Modesto resident, was arrested and faces murder charges. The family believes he had plenty of opportunities to leave the area, but instead cornered their brother.
To only circle the building and block him into this very spot where he parked his car, locked him in, got out, got into his trunk, and took my brother's life.
Lozano says her brother was released from prison about 6 months ago, but he was turning his life around. He had gotten his own apartment, a well-paying job, and was engaged.
He was a good man, Sweetie. I know he was.
Gomez leaves behind 4 children and 4 grandchildren. The family says they're thankful for the quick arrest in his death, but they want to see his killer spend the rest of his life behind bars.
I'd like justice to be served, and I'd like him to sit in prison, you know, where he can think about his actions for the rest of his life.
Roxana Elias, ABC 10.
The family plans to hold a candlelight vigil and prayer for the next 5 nights at 7 p.m. in the same parking lot. We reached out to police for any update on the investigation, but have not yet heard back. Let's turn to your weather now. Monica is tracking a weather impact alert, bringing high heat and fire danger. Tell us more about that, Monica. What can we expect this week?
Well, through tonight, we're still going to be dealing with that fire danger and for a touch for tomorrow as well because of those north winds that developed early this morning. So that's really dropped humidity. And with the heat in play at this point in the season, it doesn't take much to keep that elevated fire weather going into tomorrow. Plus the near record heat and again, major heat risk and in some pockets, even extreme heat risk. Here's a look at the heat alerts out through Wednesday. That includes the heat advisory through the valley and through much of the Bay Area, an excessive heat warning. In terms of those possible records for tomorrow, you can see the forecast is very close to where the records currently stand throughout the valley, and that could potentially extend into our Wednesday and Thursday. The air drying out considerably. Humidity tomorrow morning at about 25 to 30%, and then it plummets to the single digits during the afternoon. It's going to be a dry and hot start to October. As far as that heat risk, you can see the contours really changing here into the major category throughout the Bay Area and throughout the foothills. And then again into our Wednesday, some pockets of those extreme heat risk categories extending through the Bay Area, even through the coastal valley communities as well. In terms of our September, it's been a mixed bag. We've seen a lot of above average temperatures, but a sprinkling of below average and normal conditions. It's just now we're going to wrap things up on a hot note and head into October with a hot note as well. Right now in the Big Mountain backyard, we have clear skies, temperatures holding right around the low 90s. Tahoe right now, clear skies and 74 degrees. So 100s to start off October. We're going to be flirting right around 100 for tomorrow afternoon. That sunrise at 7:02 and our sunset at 6:48. So at least we don't have a long duration of dealing with the hot temperatures for the evening hours. But we'll continue to see that high pressure ridge kind of flirting around the west coast here through Thursday and then migrate its way off to the east ever so slightly, initiating just a hint of an onshore flow, more in the way of some fog along the coast and those temperatures coming down slightly by the end of the week. In the meantime, tomorrow, highs right around 80 to 85 degrees for the high country. We're in the 90s and low 100s throughout the foothills. Traveling along the coast, this is going to be a really tough time. A lot of folks in the Bay Area do not have access to air conditioning. And when we look at those highs in the low 90s to right around the mid 90s, and some areas right around 100 as we head towards the East Bay communities. 100s throughout much of the valley for tomorrow. Again, it's going to be a hot start to October. Highs close to 80 up top for this year. A little bit better by the end of the work week. Close to 100 for the foothills. 90s by the upcoming weekend, but 90s tomorrow for the coast. And then cooling into the 70s later this week. So weather impact alert days now extend through Thursday. We'll monitor that. If there is a little bit better resistance from that high pressure ridge moving off to the east, we could see some better relief on Thursday. But right now, it looks like that is going to hold into place and through our Thursday forecast.
Oh, and you said it, a hot start to October. Looking forward to the 80s days from now.
Yes, I know.
Monica, thank you.
This Thursday, a brand new Joker movie is going to be in theaters.
That's right. The last Joker movie broke box office records, and this one with stars like Lady Gaga attached to it could do the exact same.
ABC 10's Marcus Allen is all over this. You sat down with Lady Gaga herself. His real name is Stephanie Germanotta.
And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Stephanie a few times. Last time I cried through the whole thing because A Star is Born. And remember when this last movie came out, The Joker, a lot of people said, wait, Todd Phillips is directing it? The guy who brought us The Hangover, The Hangover 2, and The Hangover 3, now doing a very serious attempt at a superhero movie? Yes, he did, and it not only got nominated for the Academy Award, but won the Academy Award for Joaquin Phoenix. Can it happen for Lady Gaga? Maybe. She's brilliant in it. I sat toe-to-toe with her to talk about her director and the passion. Listen.
This was such a bold way to tell this story, and I just wanted to give him everything that he could possibly need to work with so that he could tell the story that was in his heart.
And speaking of heart, at the heart of it, it's a love story. She loves this guy. And I've heard you say that much like a Manson girl loved Manson.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think she sees in it?
You know, I tried to blend my research of Manson girls also with like true love. And I really thought a lot about empathy and compassion. And we argued a lot on set about this. You know, there was a lot of discussion around how she loved Joker. And I always, as, you know, bringing the perspective of a woman, I always was saying, no, she loves Arthur too. And I think her empathy and love for Arthur was real, but I think also her love and obsession with Joker was dangerous because she was willing to provoke Arthur to meet Joker. And, you know, I always thought that was kind of, you know, more dangerous than Lee lighting a match, I thought was the fact that she was willing to do that.
So true. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for all you do to make the world a better place.
Thank you.
And she does make the world a better place. She donates so much money to so many different charities. Now back to the movie. Could she win the Oscar? Maybe. She is brilliant in it. The cinematography is brilliant. Joaquin is better than he was the first time around. And keep in mind, he won the Academy Award that time. So we'll see. It opens Thursday in theaters everywhere. Joker, fallait à deux. But nobody says that. They don't even call it that.
There are some people who might say that some young ladies like to go for the bad boy. Is this a case in point of that happening?
Well, I mean, to that point, I went straight to Charles Manson in my interview.
Oh, you did? You went right for it?
And she said, yeah, very much the same thing going on in this movie. It's a love story at the end of the day and a little bit of a musical.
And how she provokes him to become the Joker. She likes that.
Yeah, you'll see. You will see. You're right. You hit the nail on the head.
There's so much going on in that. All right, Marcus Allen, thank you. And again, that's out Thursday.
Thanks for watching ABC10 Tonight. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC10 Plus app. You can get your news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Alex Bell. Join me weeknights at 6:30 on To The Point. Instead of just reporting on the problems, we cut through the noise and look for solutions. We're not afraid to investigate local stories. We're not afraid to include different perspectives. We're not afraid to hold those in power accountable. This is your community, and it's my community too, and we're here to make it better for everyone. Join me, Alex Bell, on To The Point, weeknights at 6:30, only on ABC10.